When you think about the founding fathers, who comes to mind? Probably guys like Jefferson, Madison, Hamilton, right? The big talkers, the powerful writers whose voices just boom through history. But today, we're going to talk about a founder whose greatest strength was his silence. So that's the big question for today, right? How does a guy who literally never gave a single speech during the most important debate in American history get his name on the Constitution? The answer, it turns out, tells us a whole lot about what real influence actually looks like. And here he is, William Few, a self-made man from Georgia whose road to Philadelphia was, well, let's just say it was anything but ordinary. His story is just an awesome reminder that you don't always have to be the loudest person in the room to make a huge impact. All right, so to really get this guy, we have to go back, way back. See, Few's character wasn't built in some fancy school or a comfortable home. Nope. It was hammered into shape by the tough, unforgiving life on the American frontier.
Okay, so this timeline, man, it just lays out how tough his early life was. Born poor, family moves looking for a better life, and what do they find? A violent uprising. It gets worse. His own brother is executed for his part in it. The family has to bolt, basically becoming refugees, leaving William to clean up a mess. This isn't just a list of dates, you guys. This is a crash course in loss, grit, and survival.
So you're probably asking, who were these regulators? Well, think of them as frontier farmers who were just fed up. They felt like a distant, wealthy elite on the coast was calling all the shots and rigging the system against them. And you can bet that experience left a mark on the Few family, a deep, deep suspicion of any powerful, far-off government. And this is what I find so incredible about him. After all that chaos with hardly any real schooling, Few had this unstoppable drive. He just loved to read, devoured books, and taught himself law from scratch. I mean, talk about a self-made man. He literally built his future on pure willpower and smarts. So you've got this guy who, for very good reason, is super skeptical of big government. Then, the American Revolution kicks off, and it flips his entire worldview upside down. I mean, look at this. This is the definition of a complete 180. He starts as this frontier individualist, don't trust authority, rely on yourself, but he ends up a staunch nationalist, convinced that a strong central government is the only way to survive. So what on earth could cause a shift that dramatic? The answer is simple: the hard, cold reality of war. The war wasn't some glorious adventure for him. It was a brutal, messy classroom. He saw military campaigns just fall apart. He watched as the army was basically crippled because supplies never showed up. He saw high-ranking officers arguing with each other while everything around them disintegrated. For him, it wasn't an abstract idea. He saw firsthand that self-reliance is great, but it can't win a war or hold a country together. For that, you need a plan. You need a government. But here's the thing. Out of all that mess, Few steps up. He becomes the exact kind of person the army desperately needed. A sharp administrator, a logistics whiz, a leader people could actually count on. He didn't just learn what was broken. He started figuring out how to fix it. Okay, so that brings us to the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia. With all this experience, all this conviction, you'd think he'd be front and center, right? Giving speeches, leading debates. But nope, that is not what happened at all. Take a look at this. That number says everything you need to know. 0. That's the number of speeches William Few gave, not one. So if he wasn't talking, what in the world was he even doing there? And his silence? It wasn't because he didn't care. It was because the man was a total workhorse. Get this. He was juggling 2 massive jobs at the same time. He was in Philadelphia helping to create the Constitution, and he was serving in the Continental Congress back in New York. He was literally doing the work of 2 of the most important men in the country all at once. And the other guys in the room, they noticed. They saw his quiet competence. A fellow delegate, William Pierce, wrote that Few had a strong natural genius. See, this wasn't a guy who had to be loud to get respect. His intelligence just spoke for itself. And right here, this is it. This is his real superpower. It wasn't his voice, it was his vote. Every single time a crucial vote came up, a vote to build that strong national government he knew they needed, William Few was there. His vote was rock solid. He was the silent, dependable foundation they were building on. And you might think, okay, Constitution signed, job done. But for William Few, oh no. he was just getting started. His career after the convention is frankly mind-boggling. Just look at this resume. It's not one career, it's like four. He's one of Georgia's first U.S. senators, a judge, then he moves to New York and starts all over again. State legislator, city alderman, he even became the president of the bank that we now know as Citigroup. The man's dedication to public service was just relentless. And through it all, his integrity was unshakable. He actually put his whole career on the line to fight a huge land fraud scandal back in Georgia. It just goes to show you, his quiet demeanor hid a will of steel and a rock-solid moral compass. Okay, so let's bring it all home. Let's go back to that first question we asked. How did the silent man become a founding father? You know, Few himself actually gave us a huge clue in his autobiography. He talked about how the convention was so close to just falling apart. He called it an awful and critical moment. He admitted the final constitution wasn't perfect, nobody got everything they wanted, but it was the compromise they had to make to survive. And that's the answer, right there. William Few wasn't important because of what he said. He was important because of who he was. His character, forged in poverty and the chaos of war, gave him the wisdom to know that some moments call for a steady hand, not a loud voice. He was the silent, consistent, and absolutely essential vote that helped create a nation. And that really leaves you with something to think about, doesn't it? It makes you wonder, how many other silent figures are out there? The quiet contributors, the dependable people who just get the work done. How many of them have been the ones who truly shaped our world?